We've got Jeremy Jones showing you some basic rail riding maneuvers.
Hey, I'm Jeremy Jones, and hopefully today I'm going to teach you a little bit about sliding handrails on a snowboard, whether it's wood or metal or concrete. For any of them, for me, the key is dulling my edges, and you probably shouldn't do it, especially if your mom bought you your board. Once it's a little bit older, then dull your edges down a little bit, you know, if you know you got a new board coming or whatever. For metal, the key is squaring up and keeping your board flat. It's usually a lot slicker than wood and a lot slicker than concrete, so it's just base flat and always squared up no matter what trick you're trying. Wood, you can dig in super easy whether your edges are sharp or dull. Wood's super temperamental. It's got a little bit of an attitude. Whichever edge is going down, I'm not putting the weight on that because then I'm just gonna dig, and that's not a good thing with wood. Concrete's really scary. I usually just nose slide or tail slide concrete for some reason. Usually slide's pretty good, just make sure it's smooth. Use your best judgment. The 50-50 backside or front side is just the board running straight down the rail, and to do that you just come in parallel with the rail, pretty even with it and pretty straight, and you just hop up. If your back's facing it, it's backside. If your chest is facing it, it's front side. So look at the end of the rail and just square it up, put it in, and just ride down. Board slide, I always make a triangle coming in, like no matter how far away from the rail I'm coming in, I make a triangle with my nose and the end of the rail. So just approach it, I get that lined up and just pop my nose up over it, and then I just turn my shoulders so that I'm facing straight down, but the rail is in between your feet as possible. Look to the end of the rail. Everything's looking to the end of the rail. That's what's going to get you there. Sliding lip slides is real similar to board slides once you're on the rail. For me, I always come in a little bit wider than I would on a board slide. Like as soon as I ollie, I'll push my front foot out, like bone it out just a little bit, just to make sure my tail gets up and over. And then as soon as I put it in, shift your weight over, and then that's what's gonna kind of put you over the rail and square it up. Once you're on the rail, you just do the same thing, look to the end of the rail and slide it down. Backside lips, I've seen them done quite a few ways. One of the best ways for me is I just treat it like I'm going to do a 50-50. Come in a little bit wider, like I said before, kind of pop off my heels. I kind of put the rail just inside my front foot rather than like the center of my board. That's probably the only trick where I don't look to the end of the rail once I put it in. It's more of a feel trick. I just look at my feet and the rail. A frontside board slide, the key thing is making that triangle from the end of the rail and the nose of your board when you come in. Square up right in the center of your bindings, and then just turn your shoulders down with the rail, like parallel with them. And then you just look over your leading shoulder and just slide it and try to look at the rail as much as you can, like the end of it. All right, that's it. Hopefully everything I said can help you out. The key is gonna be just getting out there and practicing and just hammering it day in, day out. Have fun.
Doyle! Doyle! Never here when you need him. Well, we've got Doyle and Shaka showing you here how to do some tuning and waxing.
How you doing? I'm Mike Arzina, one of the Burton team managers here in the Burton lab. We're going to show you how to wax a board. Doyle.
What up? Welcome to the lab. Hey, so it's important to get a couple of things together that you need before you get started. First of all, get your wax. Burton all-temperature fluorocomp wax works pretty well most of the time, just about all conditions. Have a fresh scraper ready because you're going to need to scrape this stuff off. A little Scotch-Brite pad, get it at the grocery store. Clean your board up and steal an iron from your mom. Works great.
Basically, the first step you want to do is make sure that all the old wax is cleaned off your board before you reapply wax. One of the good tools you have is your basic grocery store Scotch-Brite pad. Helps get some of the wax off and texture. You can also use the scraper if you left a lot of wax on. And basically that's the motion you want to use with the scraper to get the wax off. And that will get you to your next step, which is applying the wax.
Get the wax nice and hot, and you can either drip it onto the board like this, or you can just touch the wax down and you can chalk it on the board.
Chalking it on basically makes it more consistent when you spread it with the iron. So the desired effect is when you are waxing is moving the iron back and forth so that you cover the entire base so there's no gaps. Some waxes and base colors make it more difficult to see.
Work the wax iron. Make sure that you keep the iron moving. Don't ever let the iron sit in one spot on your board because it's a lot of heat into your board could delaminate the layers, especially over near the edges because they're metal and they absorb a lot of the heat. And another area that you got to kind of be careful of is right around where your bindings mount. The metal inserts in there tend to absorb a lot of heat. Just kind of put your hand underneath the board. If the board starts to feel a little bit warm through the board with the iron, you know, it's time to stop.
Basically, when you feel through and it's warm, that means you got the wax hot enough. If the iron is smoking, then it's too hot. So as long as it's hot enough to melt the wax without smoking, then you're generally in good shape.
So when the board's cool to room temperature and the wax is kind of congealed a little bit, you take your scraper and you kind of hold it with your thumbs like this, a little angle away from you, and just go ahead and scrape off the excess wax. And I guess sometimes, maybe in summer conditions, you can leave a little extra wax on there if the snow's really abrasive. In the middle of winter, you're going to want to make sure that you scrape it really thin.
And basically the goal here is to get as much wax off as possible. After you're done scraping, you can come back to the Fibertex brush and just buff it out. It puts a nice polished finish on it. Also puts little grooves and channels in the wax, which is on the base, and it kind of makes it go faster. So now you're ready to go up on the hill and do all the tricks that the riders are showing you in the video.
I hope you enjoyed the video and it's going to help you out learning some basic tricks. Because remember, snowboarding is all about having fun and progressing. See you on the hill, alright? Take care.